Hello and welcome to Talk Sports on Global Television, your sports stories where we tell you things happening around the world and across Nigeria. And don't forget, yesterday we had the match of the Manchester, and a lot of fans are just grooming in their faces, and we're going to tell you all of those breakdown on all the headlines happening in the world of sports, also the youth games which is happening, and we'll give you reasons around athletics, what's happening at Mosu, and all the stories making headways in the world of sports. It is Talk Sports on Global Television. I am Anita Patrick. Well, we have a lot of stories lined up. Don't go anywhere. We'll take this quick break, and when we return, we'll give you the lowdown of activities in the world of sports. Stay with us. Well, talking about the National Sports Youth Games, the stage is set for the 9th edition of the National Youth Games, with an impressive turnout of athletes and officials confirmed to participate in this particular games. Following the conclusion of the digital registration management process, a total of 6,382 individuals representing all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory were expected to converge and in Asaba from August 29th, which is tomorrow, to September 6, 2025. The finalized entries so far include 4,961 athletes, 635 coaches, 386 team officials, and 400 state delegates. These figures highlight the growing scale and importance of the games, which continue to serve as a platform for nurturing young sporting talents and fostering unity across Nigeria. Well, Gombe State is yet to complete the DRM procedures for its contingent of 74 participants. Currently, the overall figure will be officially confirmed at 6,382 registered athletes and officials. Well, no fewer than 37 sporting events will be contested at this year's games, ensuring a wide display of skill, competition, and teamwork across multiple disciplines. The defending champions, Team Delta, will be aiming to retain their crown but will face strong competition from rival contingents determined to claim this year's honors. Well, still, the National Sports Commission, NSC, stated that the 9th National Youth Games is a celebration of talent, determination, and national unity as the country witnesses the stars of the future compete for glory in 9 days of thrilling action. Well, that's telling you what's going to happen right there in Asaba. Asaba is going to be quite exciting as the youth games will be coming up live from tomorrow, being 29th, and all is set, as you can see where we have there going on. Let's move away from that and tell you what's happening also with badminton. Badminton has its own happening. Lagos is set to take center stage in the world of badminton. Aspiration reaches its peak for the 8th Lagos International Badminton Classics, scheduled to hold from August 27th to 30th, 2025 at the Indoor Sports Hall, Tessin Balogun Stadium, Surulere. The prestigious 4-day championship, which promises to be a showcase of world-class talent, is organized by the Badminton Federation of Nigeria in collaboration with the Badminton World Federation and support from the Lagos State Sports Commission. The 2025 Lagos International Badminton Classics will feature over 200 players from 31 countries from Africa, Asia, Europe, and Americas. Powerhouse badminton nations include India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, and Indonesia will compete alongside top athletes from the United States, Canada, France, Egypt, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, underlining the tournament's truly global appeal. Well, that's what's going down here for the badminton tournament. You can see a lot of preparations are put across, and we have all athletes across the world who will be coming to put in their effort to see that a lot is going to play out for them. Well, let's move away from badminton and tell you what's happening with the Carabao Cup. Well, yesterday was another game entirely for the Carabao Cup, where we had the Manchester United crashed out of the League Cup after a shock defeat to fourth-tier Grimsby, losing on penalties after an error-filled 2-2 draw that saw goalkeeper Andre Onana again under scrutiny. Despite late goals from Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire, United failed to inspire, with Mumbo missing the decisive penalty in a shootout that stretched to 30 kicks. The upset adds pressure on coach Amorim, with Brighton, Fulham, and Everton advanced comfortably in their respective fixtures. Well, that's telling you what's happening around there, the EPL. I'm sure the Manchester United fans are not excited this morning, but what can we do? It's football. That's what happens. For either you win, you lose, or you draw. But that's it, and they've actually crashed out. So you can see how that happened. Well, we'll have that story. Let's move away and talk a bit about athletics. What's happening with athletics? Here we have Nigeria's Toby Amosun has pulled out of the Diamond League final in Zurich despite qualifying as the second best hurdler of the season with 27 points. The world record holder and three-time consecutive champion was replaced by Bahamas' Devney Charlton as she seeks recovery after a stumble in Lausanne raised concern over her fitness. Amosun's withdrawal is seen as a move to focus on next month's World Championship in Tokyo, where she aims to bounce back to top 4. Well, we wish Amosun the best, and we hope that she will be able to bounce back and get ready for the World Championship there in Tokyo, keeping her fit and also ensuring that she has the best of the best going on for her. It's not been an easy one, but what can you say? She's been there consecutively, as you can see, and we hope this would stir her up to sit up and see what she can bring to bear for Nigeria, because she's seen as a major athlete who's giving us the best, and she's not doing badly so far, if you ask me. Well, let's tell you that we have other stories making around. We also have our sports analyst who will be joining us via Zoom to talk about these issues happening in the world of sports. We'll take it across all fields, looking at the National Youth Games, which is happening in Asaba, what the preparedness is like, what athletes are putting out for themselves, and what should be the future of sports, because sports is actually moving from the regular just sporting activity to sports economy, and all of that will bring to you after this timeout. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's still Talk Sports on Global Television, and like I said, we'll have our sports analysts join us and talk to us what's happening with the national sports games, the youth games, which is happening in Asaba, and we'll have Samuel Akpan, who is a sports analyst, to give us his own thoughts on what's been put down for the games, for the future of sports here in Nigeria, catching them young, getting the younger minds, getting their mindset for a new narrative. This is the 9th edition of the National Youth Games happening in Asaba, and the NSC has said they've put in a lot and it's going to be an exciting one, not just the regular edition which we've always seen. And don't forget, Delta is also putting up the top, saying they want to maintain, they've been the best in the best, you know. Delta's always coming up. But let's have Sam up and join us. Sam, are you there? Can you hear me? Hi Sam, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being a part of Talk Sports on Global TV. You've been across the globe. Let me put it out that way. And in the world of sport. All right, Sam, quick one. Let's talk about the National Youth Games. You know how much effort has been put in for the national. This is the 9th edition. Can we have your thoughts? What can you say about this time around? What's the preparedness like for you?
Firstly, talking about the preparation, the National Sport Commission has invested over 500 million naira to the games, making sure that it comes out well and making sure that welfare and the competitiveness is quite high. And that's where I want to give them a thumbs up. And a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking with the Director of Grassroots Development at the National Sport Commission. And she, I'm talking about Mrs. Amaka, and she was quite emphatical about the aims, the goals, and setting standards in this national youth game. And we have to understand the fact that this aligns with Malam Sheudiko Wings initiative. We have to do with reset, refocus, and relaunch. You know, when you talk about reset is going back to the grassroots. Reset is talking about catching them young. And remember, in the last Olympics, we didn't have a podium finish. We didn't finish at the podium. That's the 8th time. That's the 8th time Nigeria failed to finish on the podium. And in Paris, I made it clear that we must have a 10-year plan. A 10-year plan where we have to start getting them young, expose them to global standard, and in the next global competition you can see them skyrocket to the podium. And we're getting it right. First it was the IJA. We saw them at the National Sports Festival. That is the invited junior athletes. And now we're seeing the National Youth Games.
Yes.
The problem I have is that we need a good database so that we can have everybody in one click. You know, you can click and know where this one is. You can click and know the progression of this one. You can click and know the trajectory of this one. So that is the next phase that we should see in the National Youth Game. But holistically, fantastic preparation. And I need to give thumbs up to the Delta State because they are doing amazing.
Well, Samuel, you know, this is one thing and one idea. We were both at Abeokuta and we saw the way things were put in for athletes. We saw all of that and we had a lot of questions for the National Sports Commission, asking them, how can this be fixed? You're in Asaba right now and you moved around. What, aside the top-notch preparations put in place, how are these athletes even, are they ready? What is the thoughts of them around the facility? Because I know they're coming in from tomorrow, and I know a lot of things have been put in place. But let's feel your thoughts around what's happening around that sport. Oh, Sam, if you can hear me, I just want to know how the athletes are feeling at this point. What is the thoughts put together for them? Are they set to bring this to life?
Yeah. I think as at now we have over 6,000 athletes that will be coming into Asaba. We have over 1,000 officials that will be expecting in Asaba. And firstly, the stadium is in top gear. The stadium is ready to host because having athletes and having a conducive environment for them to thrive is another thing. You can have a good athlete, and you don't have a good stadium for them to perform. Then the goal has been scattered there. So for now,
Exactly.
we have good athletes, we have good stadium, we have good preparation, and all we need is top-notch competition. And according to the technical team of the National Sport Commission, they are expecting global standard when it comes to the technicalities. Because no matter what you're doing, if your technical standard is not globally accepted, then the aim of the competition is defeated. Because we are trying to train athletes that can compete at that high level. Remember, last week we saw Abdul Jabbar. He went all the way to Romania, I think a 16-year-old guy, and smashed the record. He became the first swimmer to win a medal at that competition for Nigeria in the history of Nigeria. So we're also looking at the fact that we want to see not just football, not just athletes, other sports. We want to see development in other sports, swimming, running, and all of that, So that's what we expect at the National Youth Games.
The athletes having games going on there. And for you, how well would you say the National Sports Festival is doing in catching them young, grassroots development? I remember you threw a question to the National Sports Commission at Abeokuta about preparedness and how athletes can get to the highs of mountains and put out their best based on the experience you had traveling out and seeing how other Kenyans, right, put out their training for their athletes to come out the best.
Yeah.
So how do you see that? Because we have the invited athletes doing out their best as well. Okay, Sam, I'm still hoping you can hear me, and let's jump on this because the level of grassroots developments and catching the young ones is actually the height of our sports getting to the top notch in which Nigeria can look away from just football, because we have other sports coming out. We have the likes of the swimming and the invited junior athletes who are putting out their best, and they've been doing very well. And we hope that this National Youth Games would actually bring us that. Just like you said, you're looking for top performance. I want to talk about that system of evaluation that you raised to the National Sports Commission. You see that being applied? With
okay, talking about... I spoke about taking our athletes to zones where if they train at that high altitude level, when they come to train with humans, they are unbeatable, they are unmatched. When we go to Kenya, we see what's happening in Kenya. We've been to Kenya. We see where the athletes train in the eastern region in Kenya, because when you train at that eastern region, you train at a very high altitude, you train at mountain level, you run at that level. That's why when you see the Kenyans come down to the track, they are running and they are leaving their opponents behind miles, So we have that in Nigeria. Do we have that kind of high altitude, those mountain level? Yes, we do. We have in Plateau, we have in Bauchi, we have in, I think in Adamawa State. When you carry our athletes down there, train them there, and they come back to train on the field, on the tracks, they are unbeatable, and they will compete with Kenya. And probably in the next Olympics, LA 2028, we can have top athletes compete and probably win medals. But back to the grassroots development that you're talking about, I feel that the NSC are doing the right thing. Now, remember, there was a creation of the Elite Board athletic stuff that is chaired by Yusuf Ali, a former international. Yeah, because that is created so that we can have the mentality of the athletes, even at a junior level, at par with those in America, those in UK, and even those in China. And as I speak to you, over $15,000 have been given to 69 athletes. $15,000 have been given to 69 athletes in that elite category, category A. And they have category B, which is for young athletes. And we have so many Ija athletes in that category.
Which
and
is
some
good
of them
for
are
us.
going on with 5 million, some of them are going on with, yeah, some of them are going on with 3 million. Imagine a young athlete at that level getting 5 million naira. It goes to show you that if you put in more work, you can even get thousands of dollars. You know, you can get a 10 million naira, you can get 20 million naira, you can even get a good sponsorship deal, because we are having the private sector coming into sports right now, and they are looking for athletes, especially they are looking for young athletes with a long lifespan, you know, to invest in, and they can use your clout to also push their market. So everything is working well when it comes to welfare. Everything is working well when it comes to mentality. Everything is working well when it comes to the morale in competition at global standard. So thumbs up again to the NSC. I've given them like 5 thumbs up on the show, but it's fine.
Well, it's not bad. If someone is doing well, you just need to applaud them and tell them well done. That's what it means. It's not like you're trying to sell your market. It's like that. But basically, we've seen a lot of dramatic change. We've seen a lot of dramatic change coming into play with the administration of Malam Shehu Diko and Honorable Olopade doing Bukola Olopade doing very well, trying to see that sports has changed from what it used to be and giving Nigerians the excitement they need. But let's talk about just like you're hammering on Alexis. Let's look at Amosun's withdrawal from the league. Basically, we've seen that she's been fantastic in her preparations, and every time she comes to the field of the pitch or where she needs to put out, she's always top notch. What do you think went wrong with her this time around, giving up that sport? We're hoping she can pick up and get to recover from that Lusanna's concern over fitness. Can we just talk about that a bit?
Yeah, it's more precautionary. You know, it's more precautionary, and the backroom staff had to advise her and tell her that, look, okay, you might go and run, and you might miss a big part of the season this year, you know, and probably next year. So why don't we take that precautionary measure right now to avert a long-term injury? You know, so we're still waiting for a report on the injury to see how many months or how many weeks she's going to be out. But according to reports we are getting from our camp, is that it's more of a precautionary measure to allow her not to compete here, because she is an elite athlete. She is a world record holder. She's smashing records for fun. So we don't want to take chances. It's not Toby Amosun's call. It was a backroom staff's call, the medical experts in the backroom staff, and I think that's a very nice one. Not running. What if she goes to the final run and she finished 7th and 8th, and the next excuse is because she had an injury? So let's just leave it at there. Let's see what's going to happen in the coming days.
Okay, let's leave it at there. That's a smart thought, because Nigerians need to play smart, we need to play safe, so that we have our top athletes who is going to speak up for us very well. So we don't want something happening to her, because that's our goal right there. We need to keep her safe.
Very big goal.
Yes, very big goal. We can't play with that. But let's talk about the badminton happening in Lagos.
It's not good oil. It's not good oil.
More of good oil. All right, quickly, Sam, before I let you go, let's talk about the badminton, which is being put together and is going to be hosted in Lagos. You've talked about sports moving away just from football to other sports, and we have badminton, where Lagos is set to host the World Badminton. This is the 8th Lagos International Badminton Classics, which will be happening, which is actually happening. Today's 28th, it's higher 27. Let's talk about that. How has the Badminton Federation also put in the best to see how they can bring up good athletes doing well in badminton?
Okay, firstly, we need to talk about the fact that for the past 6 months, we have hosted Africa, and now we're hosting the world. We did the car under 18, under 20, and we did the taekwondo in Abuja, and we did
the arm wrestling,
volleyball in Abuja also, and now we did arm wrestling in Abuja. Sorry if I didn't mention that. And now we're doing badminton in Lagos. The question is why? Why?
Okay.
The answer is, let's expose our guys to the best legs, the best hands in the continent. And now we're exposing them to the best hands in the world, globally. You know, the badminton games going down in Lagos right now. It's a global event, and as at yesterday, we had shockers. We had shockers, and if you're not ready, you're getting kicked out.
True.
And for me, if our representative at the tournament, if our representative at the tournament even get kicked out from the first round or the second round, it's a learning curve. You know, when we host competition like this, we shouldn't host want to win. It should be a learning curve for us. And I think this is a big and huge learning curve for our badminton stars. And as I said to you earlier, there's a whole lot of shockers going on. And the North Africans again are dominating. Okay,
Yeah.
the North Africans are dominating. Yeah, they are dominating again. So we need to learn. When we compete, we need to learn what are they doing right. You know, I remember when we hosted the volleyball, the African Volleyball Club Championship here, we saw how the North Africans dominated. And I spoke to the customs that got kicked out, I think in the second round or third round. I said, go there and learn. There's something going right for them. And if we learn what is going right for them and we replicate the same here, we would compete with them in the next 3-4 years. We are going to be the champions. So when we bring the world here, let's learn from those who are the best, not just compete and let them go. Let's have that partnership. Let's have that symbiotic synergy with the best of the best in the world. And when we have that symbiotic synergy and partnership, I tell you, in the next 5, 6, 7 years, Nigeria is going to be a top nation in sport, not just in Nigeria or Africa, it's going to be in the world.
Okay, well, you've mentioned that, and like we said, the National Sports Commission is trying to see how they can put thoughts together across all field of play, across all sports. Because if you look at what's happening, even the Tigers that came out, you look at what they did. You saw the Tigress, you saw how they played out also their games, on the Falcons, and Chan is also part of what's happening. You've seen the Eagles, how they're putting out. A lot of this is gone around revolving and remodeling the games and the different sports. If you look at the different federation, you've seen how the administration is also putting out words to see how the narrative of what used to be is changing. Look at grassroots development, look at the National League, look at what's happening there as well. You see that they've put in words to see that sports in Nigeria goes beyond just competing, just like you've mentioned. It goes to grassroots recovery. It goes to putting out sports as the new economy where Nigeria can stand out in the world and give us the best and show that we have this talent which we can put out, and the world can know Nigeria as one of the best countries where you have sports going out for them. But let's also look at the game for the Eagles in Uyo. How do you see our Eagles? Do you see them prepared enough? Do you see them going to give us the best? Because yes, we've seen their play, we've seen the coach putting out his best to see that the Super Eagles come out the best of themselves and not just the regular games where people see sporting fans see Eagles play and they're always having a cold feet to watch the games.
When it comes to you, I'm quite sentimental because it's where I'm from.
From there.
You know, so I you know, the fans are very boisterous. You know, they love football, and not just the fans, the government also love football. That's why we had that beautiful edifice there. And looking at the Super Eagles coming up against our World Cup, crucial World Cup qualifier. As of yesterday or Monday or Tuesday night, today is Thursday, we had a very strange news coming all the way from South Africa that Stanley Nwabali was stretched off in the 35th minute.
True.
And that is a shocker, because looking at how impactful he has been since he came into the Super Eagles starting 11, he has been tall.
Okay. All right. Okay. While Sam is trying to get back on the line of his thoughts, we know that Super Eagles are supposed to have their games. You know, just like Sam mentioned, it's something that we hold dear to our hearts. Okay. We have you back. Let's have you.
Okay. Looking at the goals that we have considered so far in the Super Eagles is very vulnerable in the first 15 minutes. The Super Eagles is very vulnerable first 10 and the last 15 minutes of a match. The Super Eagles is very vulnerable in the first 10 minutes after the second half whistle starts. The Super Eagles is very vulnerable after we score a goal. After we score a goal, 90% of the time or 70% of the time, we have conceded. Mentality of the team is key. It is not about Eric Chell. It's about the players. Do you want to go to the World Cup, or you want to be African champions or continental champions? You know, because their qualification is tied to so many things. If the Super Eagles qualify, we have so many Nigerians that are going to go to America, that are going to go to all of this to even thrive and make earnings. That is the truth. So they need to understand the fact that it's not just about them. It's not just about them. They need to go there and win. They are condemned. Let me use the word. They are condemned to win their next 4 games. It is no more jokes. It is no more jokes. So it's not about the coach. The coach might do everything. Tactically, we need to play 4-4-2. We need to play 4-2-3-1. And when you get there, they do another thing. So for me, the mentality of the players has to be key. And secondly, our problem has been transition from defense to attack. So many a times our transition is poor. So many a times our transition does not have cohesion. In the final third, you will see what's his name, Victor Osimhen making a run and nobody's giving him the ball.
Exactly.
He's hogging to the ball at that line and pass the ball into the final third. He's not thinking of that, you know. So we need to be detailed from the first minutes to the 90th minute if we want to win. If we're not detailed, we're going back in circles.
Well, you've seen that happening. Well, we know the Super Eagles are under pressure right now in this qualifying group, sitting fourth with 7 points from 6 matches. They have recorded only 1 win and a 2-away victory against Rwanda alongside 3 draws and a shock defeat to Benin Republic. Well, just like you said, the mentality needs to change. We need to see how the coach has put in his best. He has done his list out. He said he has put in a lot of finalizing touches and all that to see that the Super Eagles qualify for the World Cup. Because one thing for us is, just like you mentioned, the Super Eagles need to make up their mind. Are they ready to go to the World Cup? Are they really ready?
Yeah,
because we need to ask themselves this question.
If you look at our players now, Victor Osimhen just started his first game for Turkey. Ademola Lookman has been battling transfer. Samuel Chukwueze has not been having game time. Victor Boniface has not been having game time. It's a big problem. It's a big problem. We need to look at that also. Yeah, because if you're not at that top form at your club level, you don't expect magic in the national team. You know. In the last game against Atlanta played, I didn't see Ademola Lookman. Leverkusen, I didn't see Victor Boniface. AC Milan, we didn't see so much of Samuel Chukwueze. They're not having game time. The people that are having game time, we saw Calvin Bassey, we saw Ola Aina, we saw the defense line having game time, we saw the midfielders having game time. But our attacking third, there is no game time there. There is no game time. So it is depending on how quick the report to the camp, how quick the training starts, and how quick Eric Chell is going to sharpen his attack in this game, because Rwanda is not sleeping. South Africa is not going to sleep.
Of course, no country is going to sleep, because it's the World Cup we're talking about. How do you expect anyone to sleep? Everyone wants to get the World Cup and bring out the best of themselves and tell the world that it is us and we can make this change. We can change the narrative and give our country the best of bringing the cup back home and having our day spilling so well. Well, thank you so much, Sam Akpan. Thank you so much for being a part of the program Talk Sports on Global TV. It's always a delight talking to you, know that. Look forward to getting updates and speaking with you, especially with the youth games.
Thank you very much.
Keep us up to speed with activities. I trust you. You can do us that and do the best.
No problem.
All right. Have a lovely day ahead of you. Well, that was Samuel Akpan, who just gave us his own thoughts and tidbits about the activities happening in the world of sports, ranging from grassroots development to a lot of things, the way the narrative can change for Nigeria, looking away from just football and talking about things happening in athletics from the grassroots, where we can compete with the world if we have a lot of presence. And he has given kudos to the National Sports Commission ahead of the National Youth Games happening in Asaba, and he's just saying everything is set, the stage is set. It is just for all the athletes to come give the world the best of what they can bring in, and also looking at the junior athletes who have been putting in their best and how they've been winning lots of money for themselves and the family, also giving them a positive mindset that there's reward and in sports and you can be the best you can be right now. Well, let's take this quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk a bit about Man U's game and we'll give you the highlights of that football play. Don't go anywhere, stay with us. Well, welcome back. It's been an amazing one on Talk Sports on Global TV, where we've talked about all the issues happening, ranging from the national stories to the EPL to athletics to the international badminton, World Badminton, which is coming up, hosted by Lagos, the International Badminton Classic, which is going to which is happening right now in Lagos. Just like Sam said before we let him go, where he talked about Nigeria hosting Africans, and now we're hosting the world, showing that Nigeria is ready and moving sports and changing the narrative from just being sports to sports economy, and also giving the best of Nigerians' talents to the world to see that we can bring up the best of us at any time we want. But like I said earlier, we'll talk a bit about the game of the Man U that happened there. Yesterday, we had the Manchester United crashing out of the league after a shock defeat to a fourth-tier Grimsby, losing on penalties after an error-filled 2-2 draw that saw goalkeeper Andre Onana again under scrutiny. Well, that's happening with Manchester United, and if you see the fixtures on the table, you see what's happening on the table. We have a lot of sporting fans giving their own perspective how the game would have been and what the narrative should have been for Manchester United. But it's football, and don't forget that the upset adds pressure on the coach, while Brinton, Fulham and Everton advance comfortably in their next respective fixtures. You've seen that Man U are really, they need to get back to their drawing board and see how this narrative can change for them, and they can do the best. I'll bring out the best of them in this. Well, we'll bring you the highlights after we wrap up this, but let's tell you that it's still Talk Sports on Global Television, where we always bring you all the behind the scenes as all of the stories unfold, giving you up-to-date activities happening in the world of sports and telling you how things are moving for Nigerian sports and how we'll change the narrative and how the EPL will bring you all of those stories happening in the EPL. We're not leaving you out of all those activities, called the excitements, the thrilling goals, and those losing out and those crashing out. But it's football, like I always say. You either win, you lose, or you draw. But it's football, and we always want to. Well, that's it from now. Remember, whether it's on the pitch, on the track, or on the court, TalkSport has got you covered. Don't forget that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Global TV ABJ. And that's it. I am Anita Patrick. See you next time, where we'll bring you the highlights of what played down.